Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Pose. This will be a two-part situation because it was two parts when it came on, so that means two separate videos. Hopefully, I'll be able to get through them because my job tried me and I ended up having to pull a 12-hour shift. I was very, very upset about that, and yeah, everybody else was just like, why though? Because there really was no reason for me to have to pull a 12-hour shift today. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get into the episode. So, at the beginning of the episode, Blanca is in the hospital doing what she normally does, and she's actually with a patient. It's a pretty young guy, and he has HIV or AIDS, and like you can tell he's bad off. Like he looked rough. He has a really terrible case of thrush, and it's bad enough to where Blanca said that they are going to prescribe antifungal drugs and everything that he needs in order to get it to go away, because at this point he can barely even speak. He kind of is speaking with a lisp because it hurts that bad. He said it feels like his tongue has been stung or something like that, and I'm just like, woo, child. But yeah, he looked rough. So anyway, while Blanca is in the middle of talking to him, Nurse Judy comes in and basically pulls her out. I was like, I need to talk to you for a minute. I need to, see you. Come to find out, Pray Tell has checked himself into the hospital. They all trying to figure out what you mean. What are you doing here? Why didn't you call nobody? And Nurse Judy had already, said her piece anyway, because she was like, I hadn't, this the longest we've gone without hearing from him. What is going on with him? We don't know what's going on. And he in the bed, toe all the way down to the ground. And I'm just like, Lord. So he was just like, well, it is what it is. I come up here all the time. I've seen other people. Nobody cares about us and all of that. And so they wanted to know why he was admitted this time. And this time he has pneumonia and it's just terrible. And the doctors have told him that this is it. They said this is the end. This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Like, I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, please don't let this be the way he go out. Like, that's crazy. And we've heard that a lot of people who have HIV or AIDS, they have some form of pneumonia. And I'm just like, please don't let this be the way he go out. And then at the beginning of the episode, like, why would you do that to us? Well, Nurse Judy was like, ain't nobody got time. We gonna get a second opinion. It ain't over till it's over. And she wasn't trying to hear that. She wasn't trying to hear none of that. So now Pray Tell and Blanca are left alone, and y'all know how close they are. They basically are best friends. And he was like, I just want you to lay with me. So he's talking to her, and she is like over it. Like, she cannot take it. Like, it is really, really taking a toll on her. And she was like, I'm not ready to let you go. Like, she laid in the bed with him and was holding him and crying. And, he was just talking to her. And I'm just like, Lord, this is all too much. So, child, when I tell you they tired, they tired. Blanca was in the cafeteria with Nurse Judy and her boyfriend, who is a doctor. Y'all know Chris. And they were both outraged, of course, and they were talking about there are some trials that are going on. And what happened was, before that part even happened, the boy who she saw at the beginning of the episode, he came back, and like, he looked so drastically different because he looked amazing, that she came in and was just speaking to him like he was a random person. And he was like, Blanca, it's me. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, she was just taken aback, like, wait a minute. And this is when he found out that he has been doing a clinical trial. He's a part of it, and in no time he was able to get the thrush to go away and all this other stuff. So she's trying to figure out, why is it that they didn't hear nothing about this trial, and how can other people be a part of it? And after they've seen what Pray Tell is currently going through, how can he be a part of it? Because we don't want him to die. Well, so like I was saying, the three of them met up in the cafeteria, and they are talking and they setting it off, and they basically was like, look, we gonna have to be about that action. Ain't nobody got time. So they rolled up. They rolled up on like the person who normally is kind of like Catherine Fox, I guess you could say. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, you'll understand who I'm talking about. Like they have their degrees and they've gone to school and they know how to do all these things, but now they sit at a desk and they make the big bucks and they make all these big major decisions that can make or break a hospital. And so they are definitely letting her know how they feel and how it's not fair. And she keep on, every time they asked her a question, she kept talking about, well, I don't know the answer. Well, she kept saying, I'm not at liberty to discuss that. So they wanted to know like how many people are in the trial and how many are of color and all this other stuff. So she ain't saying nothing. So Blanca's boyfriend knew what it was hidden for, and he was like 80 people, and there's only 2 black people, meaning people of color that are a part of it. But y'all gonna sit up here and say, oh, well, for research purposes, we doing all of this and it's working and whatever. And so he could not keep his composure. He was tired in his spirit. He was like, how you gonna sit up there and say that this is just working? This is amazing. This is working when you only have two people of color out of 80 people? That don't even make no sense. So of course everybody's setting it off and they tired. And so despite the fact that they were talking to her in the tone in which they were using, she was like, you know what? I don't usually tolerate people talking to me like that, but I hear you and I'm going to make some phone calls. And so it paid off because they ended up putting Blanca and Prey Tell in the clinical trial. Now, her boyfriend had to advocate for her because she was just very, very concerned about him, all because she hasn't been sick. Since that one time that we saw that she was sick, like over a year ago, she had been sick. So in her mind, she like, what you mean? I don't need that. And I'm like, girl, we all know that everybody is different. Just like right now, like as far as COVID is concerned, my best friend's son is in the military and he just tested positive for COVID, right? He hasn't had any symptoms, there ain't nothing going on, whatever. And so they regularly test them because, you know, they're in the military. And he's been doing everything he's supposed to do and all of that. And I'm like, sis, he might be asymptomatic, ain't no telling, and whatever. So it might be somewhat of a situation like that where they definitely have it, but there are no symptoms. So it just is what it is. So of course, while she was outside stressing about it and was like, I really feel like because ain't nothing going on with me, that somebody who is really, really sick should be able to benefit from this. And so he was like, you should be able to benefit. Like, what is we talking about? Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. So she ended up hugging him and was like, thank you for always believing in me and wanting the best for me. And I live for her boyfriend. He everything. So yeah, y'all, I just lost where I was. I don't know why I just disappeared like that. I'm so not even jittery. It's just the most that popped off. So now that they've gotten all that out of the way, they have to sign paperwork, and they let them know that they have to come in a certain amount of times a week and then check in once a month. And if anything changes, to call a certain number, all this other stuff. And they signed all that stuff and they started taking the cocktails. And y'all already know when stuff like this happens, some people get the placebo and some people get the actual drugs. And yeah. So anyway, they start taking the drugs and I'm like, okay, good. Long as y'all are here, I'm here for it. So then they get to the next scene and we see Ricky walking. And then they make it seem like we see Prey Tell, and Prey Tell is looking good. And I'm like, is this a memory that he's having? Like, are they flashing forward? What is going on here? But it actually was Prey Tell in that moment. And so they were happy to see one another, and Prey Tell was looking good because y'all know the last time they'd actually seen one another was when they were at Angel and Esteban's wedding. And I already told y'all I'm not calling Esteban nothing other than Esteban no more because he said it off. But anyway, so yeah, they started walking together and they ended up like on, I think it was Prey Tell's stoop or somebody's stoop, and they were just talking and they're doing well. And, I'm just like, well, do what y'all do. If y'all gonna link up, hey, your little sneaky link moments, do what you gonna do. So, Prey Tell, I can't. He was looking very gaudy, if you will. So they were still talking to one another, and he was talking to him and trying to help him to understand that when he got out of rehab, he had to have a place to go where he felt safe and he could be able to be himself. And, he just didn't feel what he needed to feel when he'd been other places before. But now there was a place that he actually was able to go to that could kind of keep him grounded. And it was the gay men's choir. And I don't know if y'all ever heard of them before. Like, ever heard of this before this show? They used to actually show these guys on TV. Like, at least, well, nationally syndicated. Like, at Christmas time, I used to see, I think it's called the Gay Men's Chorus. That's what I meant to say. And I would see them like every year. And they really do be singing down. So, yeah, one thing that I found to be interesting that I never knew of as it pertains to the Gay Men's chorus, is that if you're a part of them, if you're not a founding member, when you sing, possibly just certain songs, because if I'm not mistaken, I saw them and they were singing like random songs, like random Christmas songs or whatever, and they were all facing forward. But whatever songs they had been singing throughout this episode, if you were not a founding member, you had all black on, and you basically represent the people who were lost in the fight. And other people they had on white, and again, they were the people who are part of the founding members of the Gay Men's Chorus. So yeah, it was very interesting because they ended up turning around, and so of course Ricky wanted to know why they got to turn around to sing. Like, that don't make no sense. You got your back to the crowd. Why though? So yeah, that was an amazing moment. I was like, wow, do what y'all do then. So now, let's see. Now, Pray Tell is, all this moment has passed. Now we're on to the next scene, and Blanca and Pray Tell are at his home, and they are trying to finish up his part of the quilt, the AIDS quilt. And, he's just very happy to be living. And they are just everything. She wanted to know if he has done everything on his bucket list and all of that. And I'm just like, y'all better do all of that, because Blanca looks good. Blanca hasn't been sick. I'm just so happy that for her, things have panned out the way that they'd have. So I think that the Gay Men's Chorus, or just some random guys, came over to Pray Tell's house, and they had a function, and then everybody left, and Pray Tell wanted to put Ricky to work. And he was just like, why every time you always get me like this? Like, why you always want to roll up and do all this? Y'all, he's helping to put some things away, and they're talking. And then, he's trying to figure out how he looks so good, and, what's going on with him and all of that. And is this the moment, y'all? I think that this is the moment. Let me make sure, because I don't want to tell y'all that this is the moment. It is not. Hold on. Okay, yeah, this is the moment. But anyway, they were in the middle of talking, and Ricky talking about how tired he is. He just tired of this and tired of that. It's like, how are you tired? Your dream was to do all this background backups, dancing and all this other stuff, choreography, all of that. What are you? Pray Tell had to read. It was like, you're too young to be talking about you tired. Like, what is you talking about? So they really are having a serious conversation. Then all of a sudden he unbuttons his shirt, and there's a lesion. There's a lesion on his chest. Pray Tell tired of his spirit. Like, he's just like, oh no, because after all this talk, and he's revealed to him that he was a part of this. And so he just like, I'm gonna die. It's over. Like, my life is over now. I'm just like, oh no, y'all. So y'all already know Pray Tell to set it off, because they kind of rekindling things or whatever. And Pray Tell is clean, because when they were last together, he was very, very, very toxic, and very much so an alcoholic, drug user, everything under the sun in order to cope. And it was not healthy. And I'm glad that Ricky was smart enough, even though he was very young, to leave that situation. Even though it might have been very hard for him to do because you could tell that he loved Pray Tell, I'm glad that he did leave. Y'all, Pray Tell went to the hospital and set it off. And like he really had to set it off on the left, right, front, and back because they trying to make it seem like, oh, well, it's too far along in the clinical trials for us to try to add anybody. And then, of course, bringing up money because if you were to do that, you would have to do all of the, and it's like y'all doing the most. Pray Tell, like in the moment, he really was just talking to, his people, of course, his group of people that he normally talks to. And then like he made a statement and set it off as he should. I was here for it. And y'all, Pray Tell tired. He is basically leading a protest now because they sick of how Big Pharma is treating people. And it was pretty successful. Somebody got a little bit hurt because there were police there doing the most or whatever, but their message was heard. He had a bullhorn and all that, y'all. So tell me why Blanca was like, what I'm finna do is this. They ended up going to a ball, and the two of them, Blanca and Pray Tell, they actually are about to perform. They are about to perform together, and they, before they perform, they're having a moment, and they're just encouraging one another, and it's just so awesome. And then, of course, y'all know how Pray Tell gotta be. He always gotta try to, like, somewhat try to mess up a moment because she was like, my man fine. And so he was like, yeah, he is, but he ain't my type. He too clean cut. He too whatever and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, boy, if you don't shut up, he fine. Just stop. So anyway, they getting ready. And they about to go out and perform, right? Well, y'all know what they performed. They ended up performing to Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Diana Ross. It was so awesome. And y'all know that's Candy's sweet refrain. I love when they do that. And like, the only thing I don't like about what happened with them was that you have to wait so late. But I mean, I get it because it's so much stuff. You kind of got to wait until the middle of the night because people see a lot of the people who are in the LGBT plus community as freaks. And sometimes they want to embrace people calling them freaks and saying, okay, well, freaks come out at night. So under the, veil of the shadows and of the darkness, we'll be out here in the nighttime doing what we do, getting our lives at these balls. So I'm like, okay, then we all do that. Their hair was everything. The makeup was everything, even though it was supposed to kind of reflect what we saw in the 90s and all that. If you were around in the 90s, I was, but it is what it is. This is actually the first time her man, meaning Blanca's man, has ever been to a ball. So he's a ballroom. He's getting his ballroom cherry popped, if you will. And these heifers performed. They really showed out. I was here for it. So after it was over with, Ricky was over here kind of pushing up on Pray Tell and telling him he was looking really good and all this other stuff. I'm like, boy, if you don't sit down somewhere. And of course, he saw Blanca and her man off, and he told her, he told him to take care of her, make sure she get home safe and all that. And so in my mind, I'm just like, why is he saying this like that? Like, I ain't here for it. Like, the way he said it, it came off like this finna be the last time we see each other because I'm finna go. I'm about to leave. I'm about to be done. And I'm like, oh no, I ain't here for it. And then like even the look on his face as he was just watching them walk off, I was not here for it. So child, they ended up having a whole moment showing Pray Tell getting home from the ball. And y'all know he's all about his skin regimen. He just slathered on this stuff. And I'm pretty sure everybody and their mama want to know what this is because, in all honesty, had they not, had the dramatic effect of just dragging it out, it would have took less than 30 seconds for him to remove every single piece of makeup and all of that off his face from the way he slathered it on there and just wiped it off with a rag. And it really was makeup on his face. But anyway, y'all, and then like we saw him sashay into his bedroom and I'm like, why? Why? Y'all, Ricky came over the next day. He was supposed to be over there. And he was like, Pray, I know you still ain't in the bed. Y'all, Pray Tell in the bed dead, something terrible. I'm just tired. I was just like, what we not finna do is this. What we not finna do is this. Y'all, I was so tired in my spirit, right? Okay, so I was a G. I was a gangster. I was a thug. I was a thug about it. I did really, really good, y'all. I did not cry when I watched this episode or the very, very last episode. I did really, really well. Okay, I did good. Y'all, he over here trying to tell Pray Tell to get up. You need to wake up. You need to breathe. He really tried to resuscitate him, and he ended up having to call 911. The ambulance, I guess, came and got his body. He at the hospital. Blanca is informed that Pray Tell is at the hospital. And so she is full on sprint mode down the hallway to see what is going on. And she asked Ricky, where is he? Is he all right? Did he make it out okay or whatever? And he was like, they did everything they could do. Man, when I tell you, MJ Rodriguez, you acted your behind off in this moment. I felt the emotion. I felt every single bit of emotion in that moment. The way she cried out and the way she fell to the ground as she was hugging Ricky because she was so emotional. Because Pray Tell is dead. This is her reaction to this man dying. This was her best friend, y'all. They almost had me. The whole episode, I was a G. And they almost got me when Blanca broke down. She broke down so bad. So then, y'all, now everybody knows that Pray Tell has passed away. And they're having dinner at Blanca's house, or trying to. She looked like she'd have made a thing of lasagna. And so she was like, now y'all know Pray Tell would not want us to just be sitting up and not eating. There are so many people who are not privileged enough to have nothing to eat. So Ricky, of course, is distraught. They talking. Y'all, to make a long story short, they in the middle of talking, and he was like, Pray Tell, I revealed to him that I had a lesion on my chest. Y'all, it dawned on him that Pray Tell sat up here and was giving Ricky his medication. But this is the kicker right here. Pray Tell was lying to him, telling him that while he was a part of the trials, he would go in and as a part of the case study or whatever, and he would swipe medication. And he would just have his share, and then give him some extra. This man was taking his own medications out of the bottle and putting it in a bag for him. He was saving Ricky's life while he just started dying all over again instead of getting better like he was. It dawned on Ricky what had happened, and he was like, oh my God, Pray no. Oh, y'all, they really almost got me then. When Ricky broke down, I was like, oh no, because it dawned on him, because everybody was like, Ricky, what? And then when everybody realized what it was, child, he put on a good performance too. He did that. Somebody better win something from this show, dag nabbit. I'm sorry. They was acting. They put their foot in these scenes. I'm sorry. Okay, y'all. So my bad. I'm sorry. They set it off. Child, it dawned on them that Pray Tell was giving this boy his own medication, and that's why he ended up dying as fast as he did. So when he got to the hospital and all this stuff, what happened was her boyfriend said that his heart had gotten enlarged, and it was basically something that happens over time, and that's what ended up messing him up. So I was like, dang, golly, y'all, they really was trying to take me out. Y'all, I was just so tired in my spirit. But y'all, that was the episode. Y'all, I'm gonna come back with the second part of the season/series finale of Pose. Please thumbs up this video if you have not done so already, and subscribe to my channel. Y'all have a good one.